Hello everybody, this is Thomas Zwijsen, the guy that plays heavy metal and hard rock on the classical guitar. And I get a lot of comments on YouTube asking me what kind of strings I use, and also questions in my online guitar school asking about what are your favorite strings. So in this video I will tell you a little bit more about my favorite classical guitar strings. This set over here is my favorite set of classical guitar strings. This is the XT series of D'Addario, normal tension. They also have hard tension, I'll tell a little bit more about that later. This is the XT, and XT stands for extended, which talks about the life of these strings, which is great because if you have so many guitars, this is just a little fraction of my guitar collection that I'm actively using. You're going to spend a lot of time on changing strings if you play frequently. So it's very nice for me that these have an extended life. They live up to 2 or 3 times longer than normal classical guitar strings. And also they're very strong, which is important for me because I play, for instance, in live situations. I go filming in the burning sun or in the very cold mountains or on the ocean, or I fly from Spain where I live, where it's very hot, to Norway to play there where it's very cold, and the strings have to be able to withstand all of this torture. So these strings are absolutely very suitable for that. The trebles are made of nylon, trebles, those 3 strings over there, made of nylon. And the cool thing about D'Addario is that, first of all, they are the biggest string factory in the world, and I think one of the, well, probably one of the first ones. Their roots trace back to an Italian family all the way in the end of the 17th century when the strings were made of guts. And D'Addario played a big role also in the development of nylon guitar strings, which I believe was in the 1950s, more or less. It's not a history lesson, but I think it's somewhere around that time when they developed nylon guitar strings. And D'Addario is one of the few companies that makes the nylon in their own factory in New York City. So it's not like they buy in nylon from somewhere else and just cut it into the correct length and sell it as a guitar string. They have actually an extruder, which is, I think, 30 meters long inside their factory, which is where the strings come out. And it's all controlled with lasers and the most modern technology. So all these strings are exactly the same strength, exactly the same thickness, the same sound. So if you would buy 1,000 sets, which I recommend, they will all sound exactly the same and behave the same, which is really cool. The bass strings are made of a composite material which is stronger and more superior than nylon, which keeps them very long in tune and makes them extra strong and gives them also a nice attack and aggressive sound, but of course also very warm and smooth if you want it to be like that. So these are my go-to string set that I'll use for most music in general on my standard classical guitar. Let's talk a little bit about playing live. When I play live, I normally use my signature guitar, which is this one. Obviously has a much thinner neck and it's much easier to play because the live shows are long and heavy and you don't want to have too much pain in the hands, especially if you do it multiple nights in a row. So I use this guitar, but I actually do use the exact same string. So the normal tension XT, it's nice that they are extended because of course when playing live, it can be a big challenge to find time in between the tour to change your strings. For instance, if we play 7 nights in a row, the moments we're not playing, we're driving. Sometimes I'm even driving myself, so actually I have no time to change strings. So it's great that they live that long. This is how these strings sound on my signature guitar. I'm playing live, it's important that the strings not only sound great and stay very well in tune, but also that they play comfortably without hurting your hand. And these ones are, for me, definitely doing that, especially the normal tension set. Now, do I use hard tension as well? Yes, I do. Preferably not to play live and not if I don't have to, but hard tension has other benefits. The hard tension strings, that's this blue set, are thicker and louder compared to normal tension strings, but of course also a little bit harder to play. You have to work a bit harder, but of course the reward is big because you get a louder sounding guitar. I use hard tension preferably not live and not if I don't have to, but I use it when I, for instance, tune down the guitar very much. So when I play certain metal arrangements, so it's very common in metal to tune down a guitar. I do it on the classical guitar as well. And then if I use hard tension and I tune it heavily down, the tension becomes kind of normal and still gives me a good feeling and a very good volume. So this guitar is tuned down to a drop C tuning. So the entire guitar is tuned as a C minor chord, which is very low and very heavy. And thanks to the hard tension strings, it still feels more or less normal. It sounds very deep and very cool. So as you can hear, these strings sound very heavy, very strong, have a nice attack, very powerful. I think it's a great choice for playing heavy metal on a classical guitar.